dad. Do it look like his son supposed to be taking his dad? I don't even feel right. Y'all hear this time? Oh, Tank don't pay his coach.
Tank has never been one to hold back, and after his draw with Lamont Roach, he's making it clear, big changes are coming to his camp. Fans were already shocked when he split from his longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, but now rumors are swirling that his new trainer, Barry Hunter, might be on the way out too. Given how close Tank and Ford were, this shakeup has people asking, is he making the right move, or is frustration driving his decisions?
When in the gym, the last one out the gym, Tank used to sit on the ring like this and watch me train him.
How old is he at this point?
He was like 7, 8.
Okay.
A lot of
Ford wasn't even in Tank's corner for the Roach fight, and that already had people talking. Now, Tank is making it clear, he's moving in a new direction. He says Ford should focus on his family and younger fighters while he builds a team that can push him in a new way. According to Tank, it's not personal, but Ford isn't convinced. This isn't about me, he reportedly told someone close to the situation. It's about Tank, and right now, he's looking for something, or someone, to blame.
Something we gotta work on in the corner, for sure.
Ford took Tank in as a kid, helped shape him into a champion, and now, just like that, he's being pushed aside. Fighters wanting change is one thing, but to Ford, this feels different. It feels like betrayal, like Tank doesn't fully grasp just how much Ford did to get him to this point. The Roach fight didn't go as planned, but was training really the issue, or is there something deeper going on? Ford seems to have his own answer.
He been with me since I was 7. I used to sleep in Coach Calvin's house. I used to sleep at his job when he was working at seafood.
You lose focus, start thinking you've got all the answers, that's when things go left, Ford said, clearly frustrated. This fight didn't go his way, and now it's like, let me clean house. But you don't throw away your family. For Ford, this was never just a job. He wasn't just holding mitts or coming up with game plans. He was there when Tank had nothing, pushing him through tough times, keeping him focused when distractions threatened to derail him. Now, after one rough night in the ring, it all seems to be getting tossed aside. And that's why Ford is fired up.
Calvin is Calvin, you know what I mean? I got Calvin tatted on me. Calvin ain't going nowhere. Y'all don't even know Calvin for CCO. I know Calvin, you know what I mean? Y'all don't know. Calvin is Pops. He ain't going nowhere. I got that nigga tatted on me.
Barry Hunter, who stepped in to help Tank prepare for Roach, has been around the sport long enough to know that this is just how boxing goes. Fighters make changes when things don't go their way. But even he's surprised by how fast everything is shifting. Tank is looking at everything around him, trying to figure out what went wrong, Hunter said. And right now, it seems like he's thinking about new trainers, a new team, new everything. Hunter hasn't spoken much publicly, but those words say a lot. He knows what's coming. If Tank is really cleaning house, he might not be safe either. And that's what makes this whole situation so unpredictable.
Because of Tank's comment, because he was asked if Coach Calvin was in his corner, he said, we'll see.
Right, because it's nobody's business, but, you know, he didn't mean anything by that, you know.
Facts, there you go.
They forever family.
There you go, enough said.
If Tank is serious about overhauling his camp, he'll need to build an entirely new team, and that's not easy, especially for a fighter at his level. The truth is, the Roach fight wasn't supposed to be this tough. Tank was expected to dominate, make a statement, and remind the world why he's one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. Instead, he found himself in a fight that exposed weaknesses and raised questions. Did he underestimate Roach? Was his training off? Was there something wrong in camp? Tank is asking himself those same questions, and right now, his answer seems to be, I need something new.
So everything is good with Calvin because it's the first time he's not the head trainer in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Calvin, again, I said Calvin is Pops, you know what I mean? He will always be around, you know what I mean?
But Ford sees it differently. To him, Tank isn't looking at the real issue, himself. You've got to ask, was it the trainer or was it the fighter? Ford said, because last time I checked, nobody threw a single punch that night except him. That's the real tension here. Ford believes Tank lost focus. Maybe after years of being told how great he is, he started thinking talent alone was enough. Maybe the hunger isn't the same. Maybe this isn't about trainers at all, it's about a fighter who needs to take a hard look in the mirror. Hunter, while more diplomatic, seems to agree. Tank's at a point in his career where he's got to decide what kind of fighter he wants to be, he said. And switching trainers isn't always the answer.
And the story's gonna reveal itself, you know. But again, that's how you burn brisket. Somebody said this is the true colors of a person that's coming out, man. They can't stand it, you know. Calm is I don't like using that word calm, you know, but our Lord knows. He knows.
But Tank isn't backing down. He's convinced that change is necessary, that he needs a team fully locked in on what's next. There's even talk that he's looking to bring in a high-profile trainer, someone with experience coaching multiple world champions. Names are already being floated, and it's clear Tank wants to shake things up in a big way. Still, not everyone thinks this is the right move. Some in the boxing world believe he's making a huge mistake, cutting ties with the people who know him best just because one fight didn't go his way. Others see it differently. Great fighters make tough decisions, and sometimes that means leaving the past behind.
Better now, champ. Better now.
Sound good? Ready for Saturday? That's spot. Oh, born ready. Huh? Oh, man, what can I say, man? Of course, Tank, somebody that's been in the gym since he was a little baby, so we real familiar with him. Camp was beautiful. Yeah.
But the real question is, will this actually make Tank better, or is frustration clouding his judgment? Ford has already made it clear, he's not going to beg to be in Tank's corner. I did my job, he said. I took him from nothing to the top. What he does now, that's on him. He's an adult. Hunter, on the other hand, is waiting to see how things unfold. He's not the type to force himself into a situation where he's not wanted, but he also knows boxing is unpredictable. Tank could have a change of heart, cooler heads might prevail, but as of now, it looks like Hunter is out too. And that leaves Tank in an interesting position.
You got 5 judges, there's no way you ever gonna get a split. You know what I'm saying? Because it gotta always be one be that decide factor. Because with 3, it's like majority. You know what I mean? So, all right.
He's making a bold move, betting on himself and surrounding himself with new voices. But if things don't go his way in his next fight, where does he go from there? Once you start cutting ties and breaking bonds that took years to build, there's no turning back. Ford, despite his frustration, isn't angry, he's disappointed. I just want him to see what he's doing, he said. Because at the end of the day, when all these new people come and go, who's really going to be there? That's the question Tank hasn't answered yet. Meanwhile, as all this unfolds, Lamont Roach Jr. isn't wasting any time. After their controversial draw, he's made it clear, he's pushing for a rematch as soon as possible.
Y'all had me getting knocked out to all this. I'm going to go back and look at y'all pages. I promise you. I promise you. I'm so glad the fake boxing media not here neither. Two-tone, showbiz.
Taking to social media, Roach called himself a pound-for-pound talent and made it clear, he's ready to prove it again. With pressure from Roach growing, public demand rising, and the controversy from their first fight still unresolved, the rematch is now being discussed for May, much sooner than expected. And that's where things get tricky for Tank. If he's serious about making big changes to his camp, this might not be the right time. A rematch on such short notice means he'll need to make adjustments fast, and overhauling his entire team in the middle of that process could backfire. Instead of fixing what went wrong against Roach, he might end up creating new problems by rushing into a new system with unfamiliar trainers.
What was going through your mind when you heard the decision?
Nobody like a draw, you know, from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more.
Roach believes he won the first fight, and he's carrying that confidence into the rematch negotiations. Even though I didn't get the result I deserved, I was part of a sellout crowd that broke the Barclays Center record for highest grossing event in history, Roach wrote on Instagram. I proved I'm a pound-for-pound talent against a generational star. The momentum is on his side. Unlike Tank, he's not making any drastic changes. He's focused on building on what worked. His camp is steady, his team is only getting sharper. Meanwhile, Tank is at a crossroads, questioning everything from his preparation to his corner. While he may feel justified in shaking things up, the biggest challenge he faces isn't just change, it's timing.
Let's hear what he got to say right now.
Important question on everyone's mind: how close is the rematch? How big will it be? How close is it to getting done? Very close. It's in my mind, it's a done deal, but there are formalities, but it's a done deal, and it's not far off.
If the rematch happens in May, Tank will have barely 2 months to adjust to a new camp, assuming he even finalizes a team in time. That's not just a risk, it's a gamble. Fighters usually need months to adapt to a new system, learn a trainer's methods, and build the chemistry needed for fight night. Tank wouldn't have that luxury. He'd be stepping into a high-stakes rematch while still figuring out what works and what doesn't in his new setup. It's a dangerous situation, especially given how the first fight played out. Roach proved he could push Tank in ways few others have.
No, I think Lamont's going to push more, but I think that even gives Tank a little bit more openings to maybe even finish the job better. But it goes to show you, I mean, hey, the hunger needs to be there. And I think Tank probably needed this too to kind of boost that up. It's a great fight. I look forward to it. I look forward to the rematch. God willing, it's done.
Roach wasn't just surviving. He was winning rounds, controlling the pace, and frustrating the Baltimore Star. Then came the 9th round controversy. When Tank took a knee and ran to his corner to have his face wiped, referee Steve Willis didn't call it a knockdown, letting the fight continue. The decision left fans and analysts questioning what really happened. Even days later, the New York State Athletic Commission gave an unconvincing explanation, blaming technical issues for why they couldn't review the moment in real time. That only added fuel to the fire, making the rematch even more personal for Roach. He doesn't just want to run it back, he wants to finish what he started. Tank, on the other hand, has options. He doesn't have to take this fight right now. A matchup with Shakur Stevenson or even Devin Haney would be far more lucrative and would also give him more time to restructure his team.
I think he is going to be a little more aggressive because he said that Tank couldn't punch, so he figured he could take Tank's punches. So I think he is going to try to be a little more aggressive, which could, like Dub said, can open him up to get hit with a big shot because you kept that left hand.
There's been talk about a possible fight with Paul, which would bring in huge pay-per-view numbers. But right now, Tank has other things on his mind. He wasn't happy with how things ended against Roach, and he knows people are questioning him. A fighter of his caliber isn't going to just let that slide. Skipping the rematch could make him look weak, and that's not a reputation he wants. If anything, that pressure might be pushing him to take the fight as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Barry Hunter, who helped train Tank for the Roach fight, is in a shaky position. With Tank looking to shake up his team, Hunter could be out just as fast as he came in, adding even more uncertainty to the situation. If the rematch happens in May, the big question is, who will be in Tank's corner?
He take a knee. You need to lose like 10-8 that round at least, no? And plus the corner go up and put it a towel in the face. That's a disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules, but you know.
If both Calvin Ford and Barry Hunter are out, Tank will be stepping into the ring with an entirely new team, one that hasn't been tested in a high-stakes fight. That's a risk most fighters wouldn't take, but Tank isn't like most fighters. His whole career has been about proving people wrong, showing up when others expect him to fall short. Maybe that's his mindset again, trusting that his raw talent will be enough to get the job done, no matter who's in his corner. But Roach isn't backing down. He's hungrier than ever, and he believes the first fight proved he belongs at the top. He's not giving Tank time to regroup. He's pushing for the rematch before Tank can fully recover and before he gets comfortable with a new team. It's a smart strategy, one that could give Roach the upper hand.
Did Gervonta Davis lose to Roach? Yes, he did. Even without that whole bizarre situation where Davis took a knee, which should have been scored as a knockdown in Roach's favour, I believe Roach still edged it. Should he have been fighting Roach in the first?
That's what makes this situation so risky for Tank. He's already dealing with uncertainty in his camp, and now he's being pushed into a rematch he might not be fully ready for. If he wins, all the doubts disappear, and he comes out stronger than ever. But if he loses, it's a whole different story. A loss to Roach wouldn't just be a setback, it would be a major blow. It could shake his status as one of boxing's biggest stars and make people question whether overhauling his team was the right move. All the pressure is on him. Meanwhile, Roach has nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Even without the knee, that should have been a knockdown. I thought I should have won a competitive fight. I think I did what I needed to do necessary to bank the rounds. I'm just a little frustrated with the scorecards. I thought I should have...
It's been a tough run for Tank Davis. What should have been a career-defining moment, a sold-out fight against Lamont Roach Jr., ended in controversy. The fight was ruled a draw, putting a mark on his previously perfect record. The frustration from that night hasn't gone away, with Roach still pushing for a rematch and fans debating whether Tank really deserved the result. Now, as talks for the rematch pick up steam and a potential May fight is on the table, another problem has surfaced: legal trouble.
Who it is? Yeah. Who is the dude? Who is the dude?
And that right there is why Gervonta Davis...
Tank Davis should be focused on his future in the ring, but once again, he's dealing with legal troubles. A Baltimore judge recently spared him jail time after he admitted to violating his probation from a 2020 hit-and-run case that injured 4 people. Instead of serving time, his probation was extended by 18 months, and he was ordered to make a $10,000 donation. While he avoided jail, this latest legal issue only adds to the growing distractions surrounding the WBA lightweight champion. Now, the big question is, how will this impact his rematch with Roach? And more importantly, is Tank in the right mindset to make the adjustments he needs before stepping back into the ring? Rematches are all about adjustments. If a fighter steps into the ring with the same game plan, the result usually doesn't change. That's exactly why Roach is so eager for the rematch. He believes he already has the strategy to beat Tank. But here's the challenge: if the fight happens in May, that only gives Davis about 2 months to make real changes to his camp. With everything else going on in his life, that might not be enough time. Tank has never been the type to completely shake up his training after a tough fight. He's stayed loyal to longtime coach Calvin Ford, and his style has worked so far. However, the fight with Roach exposed some weaknesses, especially his habit of starting slow and only turning up the pressure in the later rounds. If he wants to prove the doubters wrong and dominate in the rematch, he may need a new approach. But with such little time, can he afford to make those changes? Making adjustments, changing sparring partners, refining strategy, improving conditioning, takes time. 2 months might not be enough, especially with the added distractions of his probation extension and ongoing legal issues. Tank has already shown that discipline outside the ring can be a challenge, and now, when he needs complete focus, he's dealing with court dates and public scrutiny. The pattern is becoming hard to ignore. First, the controversy surrounding the Roach fight, then the sudden split from Calvin Ford, and now more legal trouble. If Tank was hoping for a smooth road to the biggest fights of his career, this is anything but that.
I'm not sure, bro. I'm definitely not sure. But hopefully we can get it before. It probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want next?
Even without the legal issues, jumping straight into a rematch with Roach might not be the smartest move. Fighters usually need time to break down what went wrong and make the right adjustments. Tank barely has that luxury. Meanwhile, Roach is treating this rematch like the biggest opportunity of his career. He's been locked in, sharpening his skills, and studying every moment of their first fight. He knows exactly what changes he needs to make. Tank, on the other hand, has been dealing with probation violations, potential jail time, and trying to navigate his career without Mayweather's backing. The last thing any fighter should do is underestimate their opponent, but that's exactly what happened in their first fight. Tank came in looking unprepared, assuming he could take his time and still walk away with the win. If he makes that same mistake in the rematch, he might not just be dealing with another controversial result. He could be looking at his first loss.
He got good skills. That's why he's here. I think he's 25-0 with 10 knockouts. So I think he's a A+ fighter, I would say.
If Tank is truly serious about making the most of his career, he might need to slow things down. Rushing into a rematch could backfire, especially if he's not 100% mentally focused. There's no shame in taking a few extra months to regroup, fine-tune his training, and put his legal issues behind him. But if he does move forward with the rematch in May, he has to be all in, no distractions, no courtroom visits, no last-minute adjustments. Because if he steps into that ring unprepared, Roach won't give him a second chance. How do you see this playing out? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more updates.